Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. Today is the 25th of October and I'm with Tytan again today. It's about a little bit after 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30, and we dropped our gear off, our tree stands and our hunting gear, closer to the spot where we're going to go down and hang some stands. We're going to put both stands up today and we're going to hunt this afternoon, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I like this wind, but I don't really like trying to do an interview out here in the wind. So we'll jump inside the truck and we'll talk strategy, and then we'll walk our way down there and get these stands up. We're going to go into one of Tytan's better spots this evening and get a stand set up for him. It's a north wind, so we have to play the wind, and it's not going to be probably a spot that he can hunt on other wind. You know, it's going to be the type of spot that's only going to work for a north, maybe a northwest. Because usually on these ridges, we're going onto a long ridge. And we'll pull it up and show it to you here on the Hunt Stand app. But normally the way the bucks will travel on those ridges, they'll be about 30 to 40 yards down off the top on the downwind side. So as we come into this, we're coming in from the south. We're parked out in this open field. We dropped our stuff off with the truck a little bit closer. Then we're going to walk our way in, grab the tree stands and the rest of our gear, and then go put them up. But we're going to stay down off the ridge top on the downwind side. So we'll stay on the south side of that ridge. And we'll just kind of sneak along. And you said there was a couple scrapes that you knew of, pretty big scrapes.
Yeah, it looks like they use that a lot back there.
Yeah. I bet you they bed quite a bit out on that point.
Right.
And then you've got a food plot, or I mean, technically it was a field that your family left. Right?
Yeah. So basically a big food plot.
Yeah. 8 acres of standing beans. That might be where they're heading to when they come off that bedding area.
I would assume, because there's not too much out in this.
No, not, and they'll pick through these open fields too, but not as good as when they can go right to the standing crop. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the plan. And you said the first scrape was about, you said 20 yards out on the ridge. Is that from the logging road or from the 2-track lane?
From where they meet the 2 logging roads.
Okay. Is there one that goes out on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's one that goes down the hill.
Okay. So the one that goes out on the point, we're going to stay, we're not going to walk on it.
Okay.
We'll stay to the side of it. Are there scrapes on that lane?
Yeah, they're right on it.
Yeah. So we'll stay on the downwind side of that. I guess we could walk in a little ways and then drop over, but I hate leaving scent in the places where the deer are likely to travel through. But I guess we'll look at the first one, and I mean, if that looks good, there's no point in going deeper, because you just take, the further in you go on those ridgetop points like that, the more bedding areas you run into, and the riskier it is. The one thing we got going for us though is there's still quite a bit of vegetation on the ground. You know, still quite a few leaves on the weeds, and this high wind really helps too.
True, yeah. Because
they're not going to hear us. There's no way they're hearing us. And they're not going to probably see movement either, because everything's moving, you know, all the branches are moving and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's really tough when it's still, and the only thing moving is you, and the only noise is you, you know, and then they really catch you. But today, we should be able to get away with pretty much whatever we want to. I asked Tytan what he was going to shoot, and he said he was going to wait and see what showed up. Get some success under your belt, get some confidence, and get your fire lit.
Yep.
But I think we'll have some fun tonight. I mean, there's quite a few deer in this general area. I don't know about where we're going. We don't have a camera there. You've run camera on that scrape, you said, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I have 2 out there.
There's quite a bit of activity.
Yeah.
How much of it's been in daylight?
I would say more nighttime activity, but there has been a little bit of daylight.
Yeah. We'll hike down there and grab our stuff and get to work.
Okay.
Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail app. Whitetail Institute, research equals results. B3 releases. XO broadheads, exact sights, Muddy Outdoors tree stands, Stealth Cam trail cameras, and Hoyt. We came in just a little bit deeper than the second scrape that Tytan was talking about. We're probably 150 yards in on this ridge, and the ridge is probably, oh gosh, this ridge might be 500 yards long, maybe more. It's really big, so we didn't go in too far. Tytan just saw a doe a little bit ago working in this direction, but it's so thick. So many leaves still on the trees and on the bushes. You can't see very well. But this wind is awesome. I mean, you can get away with murder when it's windy like this for sneaking in. We couldn't have done anything that we did like the way we did it if it was still.
There's another. I don't know if that's it.
I got some action coming up. I better get the other camera out. Titan's got the itchy trigger finger. Do you think it's a doe?
It's probably the same one.
How far away?
Same distance.
100 yards or so.
Yeah.
Must just be eating acorns or something over there.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go back to hunting here. We'll bring you another update soon. Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's to the right of the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They're just up there eating acorns. All right, I'm gonna film that. Titan just shot a nice 10-pointer. It was, I mean, I wish I would have been guiding him rather than filming the deer, because he was broadside through a couple of openings, and I'd whispered to Titan, stop him when you're ready, and he didn't hear me. And the deer started to catch a little bit of our scent, and then he turned and he angled up toward the tree just a little bit, and that's when Titan shot. And I think I have to go back and look at the video again. I was kind of distracted trying to just do the filming part of it, and I wasn't paying enough attention to, you know, what the deer was doing exactly. But I got the impression that he hit the liver and then into the paunch. I mean, that will kill that deer, but I just don't know if we can go after him this evening. We might have to wait until morning. I hate doing that because it's, you know, kind of stressful to, you know, to have that, you know, have them sitting overnight, you know, and just waiting on it. But you can lose them if you push them too soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, again, I just wish that I could have been in the full guide mode instead of the cameraman mode, because I could have helped you a lot more there. I was too distracted just trying to keep him in focus and in frame. I was pretty excited. Might have been more excited than you.
The adrenaline really kicked in when he came in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice 10-pointer. I mean, that wasn't the buck that came up from below earlier. This was a bigger deer. I mean, it was a nice deer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we can recover this deer, that would be a great first buck with a bow for sure. So the way to really have handled that, because you knew he was going to hit our scent there, because that's where the doe did. The way to have handled that would have been to stop him in an opening before he got to that point. And I didn't want to stop him because I didn't know where your shooting lanes were. I was on the back side of the tree.
I don't know. Yeah, I just don't want to risk it and hit a branch.
Yeah, and it's all experience. You know, it takes, bowhunting is just a lot of experience and you know, rehearsal and mental preparation. But yeah, I think for no more than just grabbing a couple of tree stands and walking into the woods a few hundred yards, we had a pretty good evening's hunt.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. We'll just sit here longer and watch there for a while, and then we'll sneak out.
Okay.
We walked partway down there to where we thought he stopped. But I just didn't want to, the woods are pretty open down there. I didn't want to keep going for fear that he might be bedded someplace where he could see us. And if we jump him now, you know, where he's at right now might be where we would find him in the morning if we don't mess it up.
There's another deer behind us.
We just arrived back at the spot where we went in to hunt yesterday evening, and after we got out of the stand, we went back and looked at that video on the computer, and it looked a lot better than I thought. The hit looked a lot better. The arrow was tucked right in behind his shoulder, and even though it wasn't the best shot angle, and we talked about that, I think it's going to work out just fine because you were so tight up against that shoulder. It looked to me like you probably got one lung in the liver.
Yeah.
But we were a little bit nervous about going in there in the dark, and as cold as it is, we should be fine on preserving the meat. Hopefully no coyotes found him. So we're going to fall on the blood trail first, and then we should be able to come up with that buck pretty quick, I would think. Gosh, it's a beautiful morning. I mean, it'd be a great day to be in the stand hunting. It's probably, it was 25 at the farm when I got up this morning, and it's warmed up a little bit. I see ducks flying too. So we'll grab our gear here and head to the spot where we saw that buck last and pick up blood there, and then hopefully we can get on him pretty quick. A little more. You just gotta stay on that line. All over.
But he's in the bottom of there.
We just spotted him up on the other side of this ditch. You can go ahead and run over there if you want to. The blood trail kind of played out on us. He was probably bleeding internally, but yeah, we can see him laying up on top across this big ditch. What we did then, we knew that he was going to go down, and we figured if he goes down, he's probably not going to go up. Well, he went up a little ways. That's pretty cool.
It is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If he'd have been broadside, that would have took his heart out. Lift him up but we can see him. There you go. He was probably dead within 4 or 5 hours after we shot him, or after Tytan shot him. But it's just really tough in the dark to follow blood. I mean, we ran out of blood, or we got turned even in daylight. So it would have been pretty hard to probably find him last night.
Yeah.
So even though there's no doubt we could have, you know, recovered this deer, it would have been a lot tougher. He didn't go. The stand is probably 120 yards away. So he didn't really go very far. He just went down, and that's generally what you'll see is they go down if they're hit hard. But usually they don't go back up. That's why I was surprised that he wasn't in the ditch, that he made it back up on the hill here. I had a guy tell me one time, just for your knowledge, he had guided in an area where they killed a lot of deer, and he said after, I don't know how many blood trails he told me, 2,000. It was a big number. He said that if they don't bed within 250 yards, there's a pretty good chance that you're not going to find them. That was sort of his rule of thumb. And I was starting to get a little bit nervous, but this guy was just going downhill, and he didn't make it very far up, and then he was done. But I was a little bit nervous as we were going, thinking, ooh, you know, we're going to hit that 250 yards here pretty soon. But I'm going to have Tytan tell us what he thinks about bow hunting and what he's going to do. And I haven't primed him. We're just going to see what comes out of his mouth here. But so what's your plan now? I mean, you've shot this buck. Actually, this one came pretty easy, if you want the truth. I hunted quite a lot before I ever killed a buck that big with my bow. So you've got the rest of the season ahead of you.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna try to hang more stands across the farm just to get used to it, and maybe try shooting a couple more does.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And then what I would do too, you know, something that we learned, maybe lift his head one more time. Something that we learned with this deer is you need to maybe study on like how to handle the moment of truth. You know, like that's when all the chips, you know, kind of fall. So you got to know how you're going to do it. You got to have a plan. Like as a deer, if he approaches on this trail, what am I going to do? If it approaches on that trail, you know, am I going to stop him? Or when am I going to draw? You know, have a plan. And I used to do that every time I got into my stand, even after a few years, even after hunting the same stand, you know, multiple times, I still go through that in my head. You know, like that way you're not surprised, and when something happens, you sort of react more instinctively.
Yeah.
So just a rehearsal and planning it out better. Like that one, we could have made this a whole lot easier if you'd stopped him in one of those early openings. But I mean, it's nothing against, I'm not being like hard on you. I'm just saying that's just the reality of it. And that's stuff that you learn.
Yeah.
So if you'd have stopped him sooner, you'd have had a clean broadside. And as good a shot as you are, he would have went 75 yards and fell over, and we'd have dragged him out yesterday afternoon. But you live and you learn, and you have to learn those lessons. But
Yeah. I think a good learning moment there.
yeah, nope, that's good. Well, we're gonna get this guy out of here, and I think we'll wrap it up right here. I appreciate you joining us. It's been a really fun trip for me. I mean, I have to admit that, you know, I didn't expect to enjoy the process as much. I think I was probably just as nervous as Titan was when that deer was coming in. But we're gonna leave it here. And thanks for joining us. And we'll see you right back here again soon for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always dream
Big.
big. Lift the rack up when you say it.